Hi, my name is Holly Hunter, and this is my video for my Tableau 2 project for ISM 3011. So to get started, here is the data. So I primarily focused on profit margins. With this data, I started with profit margins for the department, and then we moved to state and then product. I thought this approach would give me the best idea as to how the company was performing on a product level. I didn't really have enough cost information to look at sales and product without using the profit margin. So that's how I decided to go with that. I used a lot of bar charts because I figured they would display the data pretty clearly and they matched up with what I was trying to present. So with that being said, here is my first sheet. So I started off just giving a basic overview of the profit margins by region. So I did include the department in this, so I have for each region the grocery department, paper products, and then personal. As you can see, there wasn't really any specific discoveries made here or any outliers. Personal department was performing significantly better than paper products, but I couldn't really tell why, and I will get into that more on a later slide. But this sheet was basically just kind of the basis for the rest of the profit margin sheets, basically an overview. So from here, I decided to break it down by department. So I started off looking at the grocery department, and I looked at each item within the department and within the region as well. So starting off for the grocery, you can see that on average they were doing decently well. In each region, each item was performing on average about the same. There was nothing really significant to see within the grocery department. Personal department was pretty much the same. This one performed slightly better than the grocery department, but again, nothing significant, no real outliers here. Products within the regions were performing on average about the same. So for the paper margin or paper department, this is where it really got interesting. You can see that the profit margins here across the board are significantly lower than any other department. So apart from these napkins here, the profit margins were all almost below 20%, and 20% is kind of the baseline of whether a product is performing how it should be or not. Above 20% it's doing well, below it needs to be reevaluated. So the majority of the products here within the paper department were performing poorly. So from there, sorry that popped up, I decided to go to profit margins by state. And this one, I actually started out with a different approach originally, and I was going to go by region, but the more I looked at the regions, there wasn't a significant region that had most of the states that were performing poorly. So I decided instead to just highlight all of the states that had a profit margin below that 20% mark. So as you can see, if you look at any of these states, it shows what the profit margin is as well as the sales. I included the sales just kind of as a reference point, but it is really the profit margin that we are focusing on here. So diving deeper into this analysis, I then took all of those states that were performing poorly and looked at the individual products that were also performing below that 20% mark within the states. So here you can see we have all of those states listed in the previous slide that were not performing as they should be. And if you click on any of these or highlight them, you can see which department the product is in, what product it is, and again that profit margin, and all of these, as you can see, will be below that 20% mark. So when we get over here to the personal department, again you can see some higher numbers, but they're still below what they should be. So that leads me to my dashboard, which over here, let's look at this. I have the states here. These are all the ones that are performing poorly and the corresponding products within those states. So you can click on any of the states here. We'll choose Montana and look down at this second part, and it will show you all of the specific products within Montana that are contributing to that low profit margin. You can change to any of the other states and it will correspond with these products down here. So from there, here is my story. We'll start from the beginning. So we have the overview, which I explained earlier. It was just kind of the basis, what I looked at first before I started diving deeper into the profit margins. We have our 3 departments here, starting with the grocery, going to personal, and then finally paper here, which again is where I started to see some decline in the profit margin. Here is the state map, highlighting all of those states that were below a 20% profit margin. And then finally, next, we have the products within those states, which you can see here. And then last but not least, the interactive dashboard, which I lost my United States over here. And that pretty much completes the story. My recommendations for this company would be that they look at the products which are performing poorly in the states that are performing poorly, and they either do one of two things. They either take on a new marketing strategy for those products and look at how products in other states, such as California, they're performing extremely well and copy that marketing strategy, or if it's going to be too costly to market them differently, or if they feel like the product is too far gone or the sales are not high enough, then they need to eliminate the product entirely. None of these products have a negative profit margin yet, so they're not hurting the company immediately, but they are also not really increasing, and there's so many of them that I think it would be beneficial to start working on a solution in order to increase the profit of the company. So overall, I learned a lot from this project about Tableau and about the data. I had only done 2 Tableau projects before, and both of them had extensive instructions with them, so it was kind of just like a follow along step by step. But for this project there was very little instruction, so I really had to figure it out on my own, and I went through the data several times. I tried a lot of different things with sales and profit and different formulas, and it was a long process before I decided on profit margin, and then even longer trying to figure out the different trends within the profit margin formulas. But I really think it helped me understand how to use Tableau. I'm much more confident in my ability to do that now and to analyze data and find trends and outliers and make suggestions for companies.